What's up, honey love? What's up, girl? What's up, honey love? I see you. What you doing, Red Sonya? What's up, Sonya? Fat Mama Sonya. What's up, Fat Mama Sonya? What's up, Fat Mama Sonya? What's up, Mayday? Lord Mayday. What's up, boy? What's up, Lord Mayday? What's up, my boy Doc? What you say, Doc? What you say, Doc? What you say, Doc? It's my big boy, Doc. What you say? All right. We back. Welcome back, y'all, to another week, another episode of Game Dog Talk. We're in the building with Mr. Richard Garcia. How you doing today, sir?
Real good, thank you. How you doing?
Real good.
Good. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, indeed. Y'all smash the like button as you enter the building. Share the video, spread the word, all that good stuff. Put this in everywhere Game Dog Man can be found. Post this video. You dig? All right. Ram them should be in here in a minute. But let me do a roll call real quick. Get it up in here. Yeah. Game Dog Caribbean. Salute. What's that? King Faberge? My bad if I can't pronounce your name, man. Soul Power. Man in Water. Salute. I'm gonna come to your question, Man in Water. City Boy Kennels, what's happening, man? Salute to you, fam. AJ. R.A. Nixon. Nicholas Bronson. Hardy Dogs, Pennsylvania. My brother Miami Snoopy 305. Mike Lee. Mark Wonderland. Dogman, RT. CD Sean. John Kramer. Ready Red Kennel, salute family. Salute. Paris Jackson. Let me see here. Seth Calhoun. Live Life Real. Salute, bro. Dan G. SBC Kennels. Young World. Griffin Kennel. Von C. Anna Israel. 88 Sports Talk. My brother Bank Statement Kennels up in here. Tom Walker. Timothy Walker. Brandon Blue. Jacob Watts. Word. What's that? Word list? Let me see. Word. Yeah, I think it's word list, I think. Alvin Davis. James Hare. Gene Antonio. Let's see here. James Bronson. Jay Hounds. Salute to everybody that's in the building. Smash the like button as y'all into the building. All right, Mr. Garcia, how you been? How was your weekend?
Good. It went smooth. I was busy, but good with family. When I say busy, it's usually I'm with family.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I pretty much. Last week, we missed last week. It was a real busy week. Had a big fight, stuff like that. And watch the fight and everything. Get ready for that.
Yeah.
What was your take? You might as well give us your take on the fight, since everybody here saw the fight last week. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, classic trilogy matchup. What'd you think of it?
Well, Fury won, and it was a great fight. First off, Fury, he's pretty skillful as far as movement, head movement, and all that, and he's very large, which helps him, and he knows how to use that weight. Wilder, everybody agrees, a real hard puncher. He'll probably go down. It's one of the hardest punching heavyweights in the history of the division. But what impressed me, which impresses me most with fighters and in the past with dogs, is the heart he showed. In the previous fight before that, they stopped it, which they should have. I don't Wilder don't think so, but that's his heart speaking. And he didn't. People forget he didn't want him to stop that fight. He got upset about it. This time he went out on his shield, as they say, and he proved his gameness. That's something that a lot of fighters, most fighters are pretty game, but to have that kind of gameness where you keep getting up, and they just have to take everything out of you for it to be over. That's what impresses me most. That's regardless of all the talk and all the hype and all that stuff. I look at the fighters for what they are, and heart matters the most to me.
Absolutely, I agree.
Great fight though. Great fight.
Yep, I agree. Same thing I said, man. I was just like, I was just in awe of the gameness, man. That I saw, like, wow, man, like unfucking believable, man. Like just wouldn't get discouraged, man. No matter how bad, like, you know what I'm saying? How many times he went down, bleeding, broken hand, all that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a fighter like him, they're always in the fight. It doesn't mean they're always going to win, but because of his power, he's always in it. But more so because of his heart, he's not going to quit. It just think that way. He has a lot to live for. I have a lot of respect for him because what he did, to get into boxing to help his sick daughter, that means everything to me, I've been watching boxing so long. Same with the dogs, it's heartbreaking when your guy loses or your dog loses, but it happens. And I'm not going to say you get used to it, but you learn to accept it. It doesn't take away from a fighter. It doesn't, I look at fighters' overall record, what they did, who they beat, who they fought, under what conditions, where, everything, but that's, I think in time, that's what people, normally do. But, your guy don't always win. It's okay. But when they lose like that, just like in the past with dogs, you got to be proud, man.
That's all you can. Yeah, got to be proud. Yeah, got to be after that kind of shit. You know what I mean? I mean, it happens like that. You know what I mean? I seen the dog, Bad Rosemary, hard, devastating mouth, and she showed a lot of gameness too.
Yep.
Game and mouth, but the other dog just had more ability. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that happens. That happens.
Just like Ram has said about, his Red Jack dog going up against Grand Champion Yanta.
Yeah.
He tough game. Just Yantas he changed up on him. He had more skill, and he was a game dog too, and all that. That happens. So I've learned to deal with the disappointment because I understand it's all part of the game, and you can appreciate a fighter more for losing that way sometimes, than just winning, being undefeated, or having beating a bunch of guys that are not top level. Sometimes they do that,
Right.
He at least, with Wilder, he's fought whoever they put in front of him. You don't always fight the best, especially when you're coming up or stuff like that. But when you get up there, you try and go after anybody that's considered good, a ranked fighter, and that's what he did. He had several title defenses. People may not remember that. I forget how many, but
10 straight.
How many?
10 straight title defenses.
Yeah, see, some guys, they don't even have one. Some guys have one or two. And to do 10 straight, you got to figure, you got to be at the top level at your peak condition 10 times in a row. It's hard to do because, again, there's so many factors. You could be dealing with injuries, and you could get an illness. You could, your camp, you missed the peak, you this and that. And if you still come out on top, that's impressive.
Absolutely. Welcome down, Ram. Big Stephen in the building. What's up, Ram?
What up, boy? What's going down? Salute to everybody in the chat. What up, Mr. Garcia?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. She's still at work, but she gotta get it.
Good.
Oh,
good.
shit,
Yeah.
88 Sports Talk in the super chat. Much love, much appreciate your family. Says some fighters quit because their eye hurt. Oh yeah.
Your guys' voice is breaking up. I don't know if it's the phone or what, or my phone maybe.
Yeah, it's probably my shit. I forgot to bring my headphones.
Oh, I can hear Ram fine. I hear both of y'all fine.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really hear. Could be mine.
Try
there we go.
You
there we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, somebody in the chat asked about blue dogs. He wanted some clarity on blue dogs and why do we say blue dogs aren't real American Pit Bull Terriers. You want to take that one, Mr. Garcia?
Man, could I get my Wilder salute off,
Oh
man?
yeah,
Damn,
yeah, yeah.
I was listening. Shit.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Ram.
Like both of y'all was saying, man, that gameness, bro, like that shit was impressive, man. Cause you could have, like Mr. Garcia said, a hard biter like my red jack was, devastating. One bite and good night. But that motherfucker proved to be game than a motherfucker that day. And I was real proud of that. And I put Wilder up there with that. As far as gameness go, like game to the last drop. I'm glad he just wasn't, no hard punching cur like Mike Tyson. I can't take two of those in one lifetime.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Wilder, shit, nothing to be ashamed of, man. You lost to the better fighter. That shit happens, bro. For real.
Absolutely.
When that motherfucker fighting with a broken paw, all that, he's still scratching. You gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta finish him. What more could you ask for?
Yeah.
Everybody should want a dog like that. If you get one, cherish that motherfucker.
I think dog men have a better. This is my opinion. I think dog men have a better appreciation for fighters. I
Hell
just think that.
yeah.
I
Because
just
we
think that, bro.
understand, what it takes to do that type of battle. A lot of
Yeah.
dog men like to fight theyself, don't mind, we could get in the box next type shit. You feel me? So we appreciate that type of heart it takes to get up and do that. And then, you putting yourself in keep 10 times, man, shit. Something gonna break down, bro. That's just inevitable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you don't see it unless you see it under those conditions.
Yep.
It's very rare. You do see it in winners. You can see real game winners too, but to get to the end like that, where they have to take everything out of you. Whether it's a
Like
human or a
last
dog,
drop.
you
Yeah.
don't see it unless you get to that point. You know, and
Yep.
hopefully you have enough sense to stop it. And the ref did the right thing, but let's say the ref didn't do that. If Wilder was able to get up before the count finished, he would have got up and continued.
Yeah.
That's what we mean when they say there's no quit in him.
Yeah.
If
He
he
got
was
up at
able to
8.
do it, there's no doubt he would have. He would have just kept doing it till they put
Till
him
he
to sleep
died.
or fucking died or
He
whatever.
died scratching.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And that's always what impresses me about fighters and dogs. And yeah, we can relate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's get to that blue dog question. There's a lot of people come here and ask those type of questions about blue dogs. Think
Yeah,
people got blue
yeah.
dogs.
People have a hard time, when we say certain things. They take it personal. It's not meant personal. It's just facts, and it's history and experience and all that. Most blue dogs, they ain't real pit bulls because uh, they were mixed. You know, either Catahoula Hound, and there's a long history of record of that. For hog hunting and different things, or Australian Shepherd or Queensland Heeler. That's where the real blue color comes from. But there are pit bulls, purebred pit bulls that we call blue, that are that gray color or seal color, and maybe even some that are actually blue. You know, but you'd have to know the lineage. You'd have to know, Antonio Bayonne Club. They had some. Even Floyd Boudreau had some. He didn't keep them. He didn't want them, but they do pop up. It does, and the history of it, what people think, I don't know, but it comes from the blue Paul dog, which was a fighting dog from Scotland and Wales way back in the 1800s. Now, for whatever reason, they discontinued using those dogs. Blue Paul comes from there's always a miscommunication or interpretation, but it's actually Paul, like Polly, Poll, and people hearing the name put Paul like Paul,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually Poll. And those dogs were reportedly blue. And if you get a purebred pit bull, it could be going back to that color from way back then. But most of them are not. You have to be able to follow the history, the family tree of the dog to know. Someone like Bayonne Club, They matched a lot of dogs. So if one of them, some of them came out like that teal color or gray color, you know, they're real pit bulls, you know. But most of them ain't, because, you know, just like the Merle, there ain't no Merle pit bulls. And even the mixed one, let's say the mixed one, people will say, well, I got one and it was game and I matched it and this and that, you know, that can happen, but that still don't make it a purebred pit bull. You know, it's like Champion Whiskey, Fisher's Champion Whiskey. She was a badass bitch. She was a blue dog, and she has like an 8th staff in her. So people assume, well, it's coming from that staff blood, you know, but it wasn't. That's not where her blue color came from. But she was blue. If I had a picture, I'd show you. And she's that real kind of bluish gray color, you know. She was badass, man. She won 2 on one night, but they wouldn't count the other one because the dude just went. She won real quick. All hers were real quick. She just come off the couch and win. You know, Fisher, he really didn't. I think after the first time, he didn't even condition her. She didn't need it, you know. And she won one night, a contracted her 4th, I think. And then somebody, you know, criticized this and that. I got one at home like they always do. He said, well, go get her. He went and got her, and he finished that one too. But it didn't count as a contracted match because the dude just pulled his bitch off the chain. But she was one of those, you know, one bite killer type, and she was blue color. So yeah, there are. It's just that most of them are not. And anybody that has a blue dog that looks like a pit bull, they tell you, oh, this is purebred pit bull. Oh, that's a pit bull. That's a pit bull. You see it all over the place. These are pit bulls. No, it's a bully. This is a pit bull. No, that's an American bulldog. Pit bull, pit bull. They want to use the name because it gives them veracity. It gives them, you know, cred. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
If it ain't a pit bull, it ain't. If you like the dog, great. If it's mixed, say that. That don't matter. You know, my buddies, like I mentioned before, that were, you know, catch dog guys, hunter guys, they had some like that. They had pure pit bulls that they catch dogs with too, but most of them were mixed, and they were mixed with hound and Catahoula and whatever, mastiff and all kinds of shit. But they never said these are pit bulls. They were catch dogs, and they're mixed. That's it. So I have a lot of respect for people like that. Just say what it is, man. They're trying to make a dog something it's not. But as far as blue, yeah, there's real pit bulls that are blue. Most of them ain't.
Yeah, what percentage would you say? 99%?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the ones that,
if you tell me you got a dog from Antonio Bayonne back in the day and it was a blue dog, I wouldn't question it. See, or you know, Fisher bred his champion whiskey bitch. You know, he got one out of her that was blue. Yeah. Yep. They're you know, that's a real fighting dog. But most of them ain't. I mean, we're you know, the ones that are, the people will tell you this is how it's bred and that's where I got it from. This is why it's blue, you know. But I don't know, 90, 99, somewhere in there, you know.
right. Okay. Let me get down to the smoke. Get to these questions from last week. A guy asked a question. He says, I bred a son to I bred a son to no, I think he meant to say father. He said, I think he meant to say
son to a mother.
Yeah. Well, he bred the father to a daughter. And he wants to know now, what are there any greater risks in breeding the son to the mother? He bred the father to a daughter, and he likes how the dogs came out. But is there any risk on breeding the mother?
Is there? He's asking if there's a difference if you go the other way. Yeah. No, it's not done that much, and I think it's just a, you know, in people's head it sounds weird. I don't know why, but it don't sound so weird breeding a female to her dad, you know, as it does at breeding a mother to her son, you know. But there's no other greater risk that I've noticed, you know, or that I've heard of going the other way, you know. The reason you do that is you're concentrating on with the father, you're concentrating on the sire's trait. The mother, you're concentrating, you know, on the dam's trait. That's all it is, you know. That's heavy inbreeding. But what's your take, Ram?
Shit, I totally agree, man. It just do sound weirder, because we all love our mama, so that shit just
Yeah,
sounds gross as fuck.
yeah, yeah,
Fuck pops, but moms is everything. So that
yeah,
shit sounds just gross. Only
yeah,
time I seen it do. I just had a problem, like I bred my old bitch about probably like 10 years ago to her son, and she got that bulldog phenotype. So a couple of them came undershot, and one of them had a cork tail. But other than that, that's the only time I seen that pop up.
yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'll
doing
say
it.
this.
Go
I'll
ahead.
say this. Who was it? Uh, Keystone Kid. He had a female, and she would breed to any dog, but she wouldn't breed to her son. She just refused to do it, man. Which is
Wow.
weird. It could have been her brother, could have been her father, could have uncle, outcross, whatever. She'd breed any dog, but when their son, she wouldn't have let him breed to it. She wouldn't do it. But maybe there's
That's
something
crazy.
to it. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. If you got a good bitch though, and she threw that trait into her son, and you want to tighten up on her, go for it. And as always, just keep everything, see what you get.
Yeah,
Sometimes it works better when you breed sire to daughter, and just have the mom for her out. Sometimes it works better, vice versa.
Shit. Hell yeah. I
breed.
wish they would have did that with Queen of Hearts. Shit. You know
Yeah,
Or
what I'm saying?
Honeybunch, shit.
Yeah.
yeah,
Isolate that shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, like y'all said, it's just a matter of isolating the trait, the good traits of the mom that you like and shit. You know what I mean? So if the son came out good, you like that, you like the mom, and you want to take him back to the mom, try to preserve that. You know, yeah, that it's no difference in the father and shit, father to daughter. It's the same risk involved. You're gonna might have some deformities. They might come out straight. They might have some mental fucking issues. They might come out looking great. You know what I'm saying? And then, motherfuckers be retarded in the bitch. I had a retarded ass dog one time, just crazy as a motherfucker. You unpredictable. Like you look good, good body on the dog, good conformation,
yeah,
but he was like just really like slow at learning shit. You know what I'm saying? And then like, fuck that. Some people wouldn't give a fuck. They'll still try to sell that dog and shit. But that motherfucker was just too. Every other dog I can teach him stuff, and he just was goofy. He's real
yeah,
slow at learning. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. If
yeah.
you spend time with the dog, you'll find out if you got a slow dog or not.
Yeah, true, true. That's with anything, and we always say, you double up on the good, triple up on the bad, and the any good in it is already there, but the same with bad. Any mental problems, any skin problems, health problems, uh, temperament, and all that, it's in there. It's just the inbreeding concentrates it. Those are, they could be called recessive traits. But they're in there. It's not, you're not bringing something that isn't already in there. It just magnifies it when you inbreed, good and bad.
Hey, salute Steph Calhoun in the super chat. Much love, much appreciation. Says in the panel's opinion, what's your top 5 producers of Honey Bunch? Top 5 producers of Honey Bunch. What do you
Off
mean?
of Honeybunch.
You mean yeah, dogs
Off,
off of Honey
yeah,
Bunch?
yeah. I would say. Let me see if I can pick 5. Jeep number 1. Rascal Junior. Um, maybe Grand Champion We Hunt, except he wasn't bred that much. Uh, let me think. They bred Holly a couple of times. I'm trying to think of a daughter. Probably the ones that were good producers off of her that were daughters were the ones bred to Oso Negro, Rascal's brother. You know, there were several of those not several, but there was a few of those females that were bred that produced. Kimsey Wood had them, the Abernathys, people in Georgia, uh, uh, had that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But maybe Grand Champion Snake too. Uh, every litter had generally have more than one dog that turned out, and a lot of them were bred, and a lot of them produced good dogs.
Right. Okay. Another question we got is correcting a pup that jumps on people doing greetings when the dog gets excited. You know what I mean? Ram, you be training the dogs, man. You got any advice for the brother who wants to know about correcting jumping dogs?
Yeah, well, if you know you got company coming over, put the collar and leash on them, walk them around the house a little bit, get them to follow you, all that shit. And then when they come, just chill out. Don't introduce them to them right away. Make sure, sit, stay, all that good shit first. And then, how the person who coming over, walk up to him, reach his hand out, let him sniff it and just pet him like that while you're in a sitting position. Just simple shit, but it's tedious. So, get them, start your obedience training with them now, and then just do what I just said. About a week or two, he'll be good. Just when he do it, he do right, praise him up or give him a treat. I do both, It's nothing
Right.
too hard. It's just that easy, bro. But
Ram,
if
was
you
it
don't
you?
want to
Was it
stick
you?
the company, better motherfucking, get on them. I hate when people come to my house unannounced.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Ram, was
But
it you in the question and answer thing that said about lifting the knee up?
No, somebody else said that.
nah,
Oh,
nuh-uh.
okay. Yeah, I'd forgotten all about. I was looking at the question. What did I do other than, you know, being
Yeah,
stern with them? I forgot that lifting the knee, you can do that. They'll go to jump on you. You just lift your knee up at the same time, kind of pushes them back or knock them off balance.
yeah, knee him in the nose type shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
Mm-hmm.
some dogs think you playing with them and,
yeah. They get
grab you
worse.
by the knee now.
Yeah, I think what you just said is the best way to go about it.
Yeah, that's what worked the best for me. And I'm super impatient with that bullshit, so I'll be on it.
Yeah. If you're gonna have a dog, in the house and company coming over and all that. If it's a house dog, then you gotta spend time with the dog. The more time around the dog is great. You can teach the dog manners and stuff that you want it to do. Teach the dog to sit, to stay, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It don't make it less of a bulldog because it sits and stays. You know what I'm saying? It don't make you a punk. Oh man, you got a pet bull, man. That dog sits and stays. Yeah, motherfucker, because I spend time with my dog.
Yeah,
Dog
that's
ain't just
true.
on a chain, waiting for somebody to come out there with a fucking chicken wing and shit. It's ridiculous. Yeah, spend time with your dog. Teach it what you want to learn. These are real smart dogs, man. They want to please you. They want to do. They want to work with you. You know what I'm saying? So if you work with him, he'll listen. You know.
Yeah. No, that's true. There's a pretty famous dog back in the day from Texas. His name was Jojo. He made champion, and the guy would handle him. Well, when he take him back to the corner, he would just stand there. The dog would stand there, and he'd stand next to him. And when it was his turn to scratch, you know, the referee'd say, "Release your dog." He'd go like this. He'd go, "Catch him, Jojo," and the dog would fucking run. But he wouldn't go until the dude told him.
Right.
And that's just training. And like you said, the training don't take nothing away from him. It's just, if you're gonna have a dog inside the house, they should have some manners. They should know how to behave. If they don't, they're gonna wreck your fucking house, man. That Now your wife is pissed if you're married.
Right.
So yeah, no, it doesn't take anything away from them. It helps them. That communication is good.
Absolutely. Y'all smash the like button while y'all in the building. Smash the like button. Um, we got another question. What method do you use when your dog doesn't have natural working drive? So basically, how do you motivate the dog, or what do you do? We covered this a long time ago, I think. We're gonna start with you, schoolboy.
Yeah, my thing, try and find something they like to do. It doesn't necessarily have to mean work right away. It could be chasing a ball or chewing a rag, a leather hide. It could be whatever, and then you transfer that into some kind of work. If they walk on a lead, some dogs just walk, they don't pull. They'll stand right next to you. You can, one method was, carry a handful of rocks, and while they're walking, you kind of throw the rock, a rock in front of them. They hear the noise in the grass or something, you know, and they'll go after it. You do that repeatedly until they get the idea to you know, pull a little bit. Or, you know, I used to carry a couple of balls with me, tennis balls, you know, and throw it out in front of them. They'll pull till you get to the ball. They'll get it. You show them another one, and you throw that one, and usually they'll drop it and go after the other one. If not, they'll keep it in their mouth, go after the other one, and then drop it, and then grab the other one. Just do that repeatedly. But you kind of want to, you know, most dogs, you know, they like to do something. You just got to figure out what it is they like to do. And if you can incorporate that into a conditioning program, then you know, you can get a pretty good workout with them. You know, there's all kinds of stuff you can do.
Yeah. You can tease them. Like if I have a dog like that, I'll just, you know, tease them pretty much like I'll let them. I'll take the one dog that does have drive, does want to work, and I work that dog in front of them and let them see me spending time with that dog. You just make them. It's like the same tactics you use with a bitch and shit. You know what I'm saying? Just make a motherfucker jealous and shit. They'll get in line.
Yeah.
What you think, Ram?
Shit, I agree. You know, I've yet to meet the dog who didn't like a wet piece of cowhide. You know, I bring that shit out and everybody want to work, especially if you let it soak and it's all, you know, smelly and durable and shit. You know, or more pliable. I mean, not durable. They gonna go for it. That or, you know, say you working the dog on the mill and he ain't really working it, bring another dog in there. You know, and he gonna pick up the pace regardless. Just sit the other dog in the kennel if you can, or hold them, whatever, you know. He'll get to running. Just, you know, just like Mr. Garcia said, you got to find what he like. You know, sometimes dogs like to chase the ball. Some dogs, you know, like to run the mill. Some dogs like the cowhide. You just take the time and spend the money, you know, on your equipment. It's all equipment. And it make more sense when you look at it like that, you know. You're not buying toys, you buying equipment. And just find the right equipment. You know, you'll bring it out of them. Just be patient and know what you're doing. And if you don't, find somebody who do, and just pay attention to what they do. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I sometimes I put a mirror in front of them. I had a big mirror that would swing. You know, they think they're going after another dog. Or you can bring a puppy in there, or even you got a house cat, hold it there, or whatever. You know, with the on the chain, you can I used to get some old Levi's, play tug of war with one. You know, they get jealous, like you said, and then the one next to it, you just, you know, reach over, give them the other end, and they'll get the idea, start tugging on it. You know.
Right. Absolutely. Then we got okay, this is an interesting question. Fantasies and reality of running a big kennel. Uh, I guess he's asking what's the fantasies and realities of running a big kennel. Like some people may have some people might not know what they're getting into, I guess is what he's saying. What's your take on that, Mr. Garcia?
It's not the old days. Running a big kennel will get you in trouble. You know, and it doesn't have anything to do with how much room you got. It's just the number of dogs. You know, I was talking to a friend the other day, which is good that this was brought up. You know, and everybody knows California is a liberal state, but where I live, it's more conservative. There's a lot of agriculture, a lot of dairy, cattle, goats, sheep. Everybody raises everything. So the county laws outside the city limits are real lax. There's no limit on anything. They can't even take your dog from you if your dog's running loose in the street or running loose in a field because of the hunting laws we have here. You can pretty much hunt anything. You know, there's no limit on coyotes, rabbits, squirrels, stuff like that. So it's pretty lax here. You could conceivably have a big yard, but again, you know, it draws a lot of attention. You know, I think those days are over. If they aren't, then just be real careful, man. If you got more than 5 or 6 dogs, you know, and like I said, I could have 20 dogs if I want, 30 if I wanted, 50, 100. That's not the problem. The problem is the fact that it's a pit bull. But to counter that, you don't need a whole lot of dogs to be successful. I never had a whole bunch of dogs. If I had 20 dogs, it's because I had a litter of pups. I only had 10 to 12 grown dogs all the time, grown ones. Meaning I had some I was competing with, and some that were used for breeding. The other ones were younger dogs or pups. So I never, I didn't have a whole lot of dogs, and I got that from Boyles. Actually, he didn't have a ton of dogs. He had some farmed out here and there, that were his dogs, but on his own yard, same thing, maybe 10 or 12. It's just, you got to, the way it is now, you got to be real careful, man.
Sure. What you say, Ram? You there, Ram?
Yeah. What you say?
Yeah. What's some of the fantasies versus the reality of having a big yard?
Well, shit, the fantasy is you're going to have more good dogs than not. For some reason, people think, a whole bunch of dogs mean you're going to have a bunch of good dogs. And I've always seen the opposite. So, you got 100 dogs, depending on your standards, only 20 of them might be worth a fuck. And those 20 ain't going to be 20 in a row. You're going to have to go through the whole 100 to see, what 20 is the shit. The reality is, like Mr. Garcia said, your ass fucking get in trouble, even if you ain't doing nothing but, breeding and feeding dogs, loving on them. This shit is just frowned upon. Like I always say, you don't need a bunch of dogs. You just need, the good dogs. Get down to the good dogs and then build from there. Other than that, it's not really worth having a big ass yard unless you're trying to just peddle some shit. But, how long do you got in that lane? Peddlers get exposed soon as the pups get old enough and they ain't what they supposed to be,
Yeah. I always wanted. I wish I was in a situation where I could have, all these fucking dogs and shit like that. But that would be in a different time, you know what I mean? In a different time where things, the laws and everything were different. But nowadays, I mean, I'm happy with just having a few dogs, man. Few good dogs is all I want. You know what I mean? I want many dogs enough where I can spend time with them, get to learn their personalities. Where the dogs have a name and not just oh, that's such and such. Yeah. He offer my other dog such and such. That's one of the pups off of that. I want a relationship with the dogs to know what they are, what they bring to the table, if they deserve to be fed on my yard, all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? So the only way I'm gonna know that, me personally, is to spend time with the dogs. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with what I got. Have me a few dogs. Might do a few breedings here or there, see how they produce or something like that. But yeah, too many. I think everybody got this fantasy of having this huge yard and shit, but it just attracts a lot of problems, man. And then another thing too, if you ain't, I mean, bruh, let me tell you something. If you take care of your dogs, that shit is expensive. If you take care of them, you know what I'm saying, man. Fucking getting all that shit, man, all that medication and shit, and fucking stuff for their coat. What if one of the dogs get fucking mange or some shit? You know what I mean? What if they get? What if it's a flea outbreak and shit? What if it's man? Please, that shit. That money adds the fuck up quick. Trust
me. Yeah, that's true. If you look at the thoroughbred race, a farm, right? They got breeders, they got feeders, they got caretakers, they got handlers, they got conditioners, they got trainers, they got doctors, vets, nutritionists, millions and millions of dollars. We got one person, and if your family loves you, they'll help you too, or you might have a buddy come over once in a while. So no, there's a lot to what you just said. The care, taking care of them, the maintenance, daily maintenance. You anybody who's done it knows you can't just up and leave your yard. You can't just, and the more dogs you have, the more chance of something going south. Like you said, an outbreak of this or that. You have an outbreak back in the day of parvo. If you had 1 litter, 2 litter, 3, it probably hit them all. So that's something you got to deal with. But there's with a smaller yard too, you got better quality control. And the time factor is, if you got 50 dogs, you ain't doing much with them unless you don't work, and still you're going to spend all day with them. We went to visit Gary Hammond's way back in '83, and I don't know if he worked then, but he mentioned that it took him all day just to go through his yard and take care of his dog. 8 hours or 10 hours, whatever it was. So there's that,
Right.
But now there's
Absolutely. What's up, Tay Tay? Salute to you, Tay Tay. How you doing? Yeah, I think. Yeah, I really, for me, I think you gotta just do what's best for you and what's best for the dogs. You know what I mean? Like having too many dogs that you can't take care of, you can't feed them properly, can't medicate them properly if something go wrong, all that kind of shit. You cutting corners. Start cutting corners to save money and all that kind of shit. Fuck that shit. Man. Just you know, you're never gonna be able to have this perfect yard that you have in your mind and shit where everything on your yard is fucking champion or grand champion and shit. Like, that's very rare. Like fucking STP had a yard like that, but you know how many dogs he had to go through, had to cull to keep just to keep, and even then he only had like 10 dogs on the yard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they were competitors,
Yeah.
So in today's times where you can't do that, why do you need a bunch of dogs? Because you're going to breed them. You want to breed them. And then, what are you going to do with them? Most of the time, they're going to sell them. If you have, like I said, a handful of dogs, 10 or 12 grown dogs, and you breed once a year or once every 2 years, and you keep all the pups, you have enough dogs. Even if you breed, say, 2 litters a year, if you average 4 or 5 per litter, you got 8 to 10 dogs coming up, including the ones you already have that you're doing something with. So somebody who has a big yard, I would question why. Either you just like collecting dogs and maybe you can afford it, or you're going to breed them. You ain't going to keep them all. You're going to try and recoup your expenses. And that's where the term peddler came from.
Yeah. Salute to I got a cash app here, waiting on it to process. I'll come back to it. Processing this shit. Let's go to the next question. Okay, what does the panel think of the future is for the American Pit Bull Terrier? What you think, Ram? You there, Ram? Oh, Ram fell off. He'll be back in. Okay, Schoolboy, what do you think the future is for the American Pit Bull Terrier?
Yeah. Well, that question gets asked a lot. The answers are usually doom and gloom, Oh, it ain't going to be here. It's going to die off. Get rid of it. This and that. That ain't never going to happen. It's going to be there. The competition part, that's going to fall off. There's not, because of the laws. But as far as the breed goes, people having them and breeding them, it's not going to die out. It's too popular, even though it gets vilified in the news and in public and all that. People like the dog. And even if you have some naysayers that their first impression was, the old shit, oh, they're killer dogs and bloodthirsty and this and that. Once they get around them, they tend to like them because the dogs make you like them.
Right.
Most of them around people, around children especially, they're mellow, they kick back, they don't hurt kids, they're easy to keep, they have short hair, they'll eat anything, they as a general rule, they don't have a lot of sickness. They don't have, if you just upkeep them, deworm them every once in a while, and flea dip them, give them a bath or whatever, their maintenance is low. They're hardy, they resistance to pain and sickness and stuff like that, parasite, it's not going to go anywhere. And that's why people like the dog, just because of, they're kind of an easy keeper, and they're good companions, protectors of your home, all that stuff, but the dynamics might change where you ain't got people wide open like back in the day, but the breed itself, I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
All right. What you say, Ram? The future of the breed.
Shit, I totally agree, man. This shit ain't going nowhere, bro. If it was gonna be gone, it would have been gone. It should probably get more underground as far as competition go, which is where it should be. It's not no mainstream type shit and shit that you should be just talking about in the opening if you is in the lane like that. Other than that, the dog gonna always be here. It's America's dog, whether you like it or not. This is our fucking dog. No way around it.
Yeah.
You'll see Germany get rid of the Rottweiler first, and that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think dogs always gonna be here because the dogs are admired too much for them to disappear. The dogs are always gonna be in the hands of people who are gonna preserve them, who gonna keep them, keep them secret and keep them stashed and tucked away. And then the dogs always them dogs ain't going nowhere. I mean, they could put a ban if the government came out right now and put a ban on pit bulls, they would kill all the bullies because they don't know what a pit bull is. They'll kill all the goddamn bullies and all the dogs that look like hawk and shit will be dead,
Yeah.
motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause I look, I go right to the vet. Look, my dog's a hound dog. He look like hound dog.
Yeah.
I got hound dog. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck.
No, that's a good point because the bullies, American bulldogs or whatever mix, they got a strong following, man. They ain't gonna let no government take over their breed, And if they, I guess you could say in that sense, it's a good thing when they lump them all together, Uh, uh, that's again, I keep referring to the horse racing community, but it's just because it's so out there, That's what keeps horse racing going. You have horses used in a lot of different things, not just thoroughbred racer. There's trotters and there's pacers and there's quarter milers and there's you got barrel racing and rodeos and cutting horses and all this. So horses ain't going. It's the same way with the pit bull. People just ain't gonna let them, And Brad made a good point. It's our breed, man. We made this shit,
Right.
Why are you
Right.
gonna get rid of it? That'd be very, very hard to do.
Yep. Let's see here. How does a person find quality stock if he is not in the mix? That's the title of the video. Finding quality stock, quality dogs. Let me start with you, Ram. How does a person find quality stock? Let's say, give you a scenario. Let's say I'm a guy who back in the fucking 90s, I fuck with the dogs or whatever. You know what I mean? I had me a good bulldog. Something happened. I got out of the dogs. Whatever. 20 years that went by. You know what I mean? And I want to find me a good dog, just for a house dog or just to have a good dog in the yard, but a real bulldog. What's my first step, Ram?
No, that's not a good scenario because if you was like that back in the day, you could just call your partners up who was still rocking and rolling for
Ram,
20.
you got to play along, Ram. Come on, man. Ram
I'm
fucking
just
up the
saying,
scenario. You're like, I was thinking that when I was saying that, I'm like, that shit don't make no sense because if he was back in the day, he got connections still. But anyway, you get my point.
Yeah. Well, I say, fucking, you gotta make your bones, man. Like if you was signing up for the mafia, you put in the work, hang around, show you ain't no sucker, and somebody will talk to you. At least the guys I hang around. That's how we do it. You feel me? But shit, it's all a gamble now. You could believe the hype and get a sweet cheeks dog. One of them butt bread motherfuckers, or shit. You just gotta get in there, man. Put in that work. Go to the dog shows. Make friends. Don't be no bitch or know it all. If you just getting in the game, you don't know shit. You feel me? Her baby didn't know how to walk till somebody had to show him. Simple as that. I don't care how old you is. If you just getting into the dogs, you a baby. You gotta walk first, homie. So just do it the right way. Take the right steps. Be around. Say less, and what you see, don't say shit about it. Simple as that. And people will fuck with you. Just be a stand up dude. That respect still go a long way, even in this crazy ass world we live in now. Manhood under attack, but manhood is appreciated more now than ever. So, stay solid and show you a fucking man. motherfucker will get you a dog. You feel me? But if you're just trying to buy dogs, man, just take the gamble and buy a couple like you did from different breeders, you know? Out of 4, shit, one of them gonna work for you. Shit.
Right.
Simple as that, bro.
Hey, what you say, schoolboy?
Yeah, if you're just starting out, do the research. Ram said it best, man. Just contact people. You're gonna get a lot of closed doors. It's like a roving salesman. You're gonna get a lot of doors slammed in your face. Be persistent. Don't be rude. Don't be disrespectful. But just a couple of things came up just recently about that. My buddy was telling me back in the day. Marshall Wilson, he had Champion Crash. And he just started hanging around, coming around, being in places he would be, get invited or whatever. And the old man never really talked to him about pedigrees and breeding or dogs in general, but he would give stories from the past. But he started cleaning up his yard and helping him cleaning, doing all that. If you, especially with older guys, we get lazy. If you find somebody that's willing to do that, you kind of have a tendency to let them come around more often, where they're not just sitting there bugging you, asking 100 questions. It's better to listen, don't ask questions, don't show your ass, because when we all do that, we've all done that. You say the wrong thing, or you ask what's considered a stupid question, but that's why studying the history of the breed and the breeders and the bloodlines is so important. So when you do get around these people, at least you have some kind of understanding of what they're talking about, and learn famous dogs or producers of the past, all that. It just takes time and it's hard. Like I said, you get a lot of doors slammed. People don't want to talk to you. They don't know you. Even in my group, I have people, I may friend them online, in my profile, and then they want to get in my group, and I tell them you have to have somebody ask for you to be accepted to the group. Well, I don't know nobody. Well, when you do know somebody, have them,
Right.
have them vouch for you. And I even put it in my rules: if you vouch for somebody and that person ends up, I got to delete them. I'm gonna delete you too.
That's old school rules, though. You
Yeah.
brought this motherfucker around.
Say
what
same
happened
like you
at the end of Donnie Brasco.
Yeah. You mentioned the mafia. Same thing. Somebody screws up, you brought them in, you're gonna get fucked up too.
Hell,
so it's kind of that mentality, and what it does is it's not being a hard ass or a badass or nothing like that. It's just that if you're gonna vouch for somebody, they better be good people. Right. And when you get around these people, you may get somebody who's in there and he knows people, this and that. And he may bring you around people. If you fuck that up, they're not going to invite him no more. So he's going to be careful who he brings in. It's just a safety measure. It's just to protect the people that are involved. But
exactly.
Be persistent, but don't be disrespectful, man.
Simple as that, and don't be a know-it-all. I hate the motherfuckers who know it all,
because they read a couple of books,
Yeah, bro.
I read all the Stratton books. Well, I did too. Shit. So what? Not that they ain't good. I'm not knocking Richard Stratton. I know him. He's good. He's good people.
That's the end of the race.
Yeah, right. And he's good people and all that. And he, his books are important, I think. But don't quote what someone else said and make it sound like you fucking made it up.
Right.
that happens a lot.
Old Marshall Wilson, that's a cool old man. I like that a lot. Yeah, he's real cool. Real cool.
Yeah, he's in my group. He'll there's a lot of people, a lot of old dudes. They just, some I've known for years, some I've only met, but they really appreciate it because of the way I run it, and it's just, the focus is on the dog, I give respect to them old guys, and if they want to comment, great. I appreciate it. If they don't, that's okay too. But they, it just makes me feel good that they give me some respect for doing what I'm doing. It kind of makes me feel like maybe I'm doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say to that question, agree with both of y'all. Yeah, just be patient, man, and you gotta, look at it the same way you got this dog. You're gonna have, if you're lucky, the dog will be around with you for like 14 fucking years and shit. So you want to do your research on the history of the breed, and can't just take a crash course. I would do as much research as possible, and then look into the different bloodlines and things of that nature. You know what I mean? And get you a dog before purchasing. I would do all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Just take the time to research. If you want to take MMA, if you saw a UFC fight on TV, I want to do MMA. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna research that shit. You ain't gonna just go to the first MMA gym. I hope not. First MMA gym and just sign up and get these people your money. You want to research, find out what they offer, what have they produced from that gym. You know what I'm saying? What's the qualifications of the people? You look into that kind of shit, man, and take your time. Just get you a good dog and be humble enough to, or open enough to be able to understand that you don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? The one thing I love about this, talking about dogs, is every time you talk about dogs, it's a humbling experience to the sense that it reminds you that you don't know everything. You learn something every single time. Like Ram said, I can't stand talking to people that know everything. Like soon as you get to talking, here they go, cutting you off, finishing your sentence, and they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
You're like, hey man, I like some of the best dogs in the country. Here they cut you off. Yeah, Kobe dogs. Yep, Kobe. Yep, John P. Kobe dogs. They're the best dogs in the country. That's what I heard. Kobe dogs, old family red nose. Like, here we go. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, the older I get, and maybe I'm just stupid, but the older I get, I realize I don't know shit, man. In the overall picture, it's just that way. But that's okay because a lot of older guys say the same shit. 80-year-old dudes, they still learning. You're always learning, and it's kind of like Karate Kid, man. Wax on, wax off.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason the old man, did what he did with the kid, and why it took so time and the frustration he went through and all that. That's all normal. It's the same with dogs. You're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna but keep your shit together. Understand why some of these experienced people are treating you the way they are, and not including you in everything, and why we tell you, listen, don't ask a bunch of questions. You'll learn more that way. I still do it. When somebody's talking, I listen.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you can learn a lot. Sometimes,
especially when it's something that you don't fucking know about.
Yeah. Or sometimes somebody might tell it on themselves, but they talk too much and they say some shit, and you realize you don't even want to fuck with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you'll shut down. You'll just stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then all that information you could have gave, the dude ain't going to get it because, he ain't worth it. This old man goes, he just want to talk. Well, I ain't got nothing to say. You talk. Fuck it.
Right.
Man, that's the quickest way for me to be like, all right, you got it. Hey, man, somebody calling me. Let me call you back.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember this one dude I was talking to this one dude about some other business, and the dude got to talking to me, just running his mouth. He wanted to do talk a lot. He running his mouth, and he told me that he robbed his homeboy. He set his homeboy up and robbed him. Robbed his homeboy for his jewelry and all this shit. And I'm like, okay, well, guess what, bro? Me and you ain't never gonna be friends. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, it's time for us to end this conversation. So
exactly, he'd do the same to you.
Mm-hmm. Robbed your homeboy, shit. You don't even know me.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat said, you said tell them to hit up some ADVA shows. Yeah, that's a good. You go out there in politics, go to the ADVA shows and stuff. But that all comes from researching. Motherfucker got to get online. Nowadays, it's easier with the internet, like finding out where shows are going to be and what this and this and that. Yeah, go to some ADVA shows or different shows that people are having. And then, politic out there, that's a good idea. And see what you like out there. And, you run into some good people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see here.
Agreed.
What's another question? Okay, this is a interesting question. It says, how does one ruin the game if their stock isn't proven when only a small percentage of grand champion and champions have been produced from proven stock? I don't even know if that's true. I don't think that's true. But that's the question anyway. What do you say there, Schoolboy?
Yeah, it's not true. It's that again. I always go back. That's the excuses that people make for keeping subpar dog, cur dog, cold dog, all that undesirable, because they'll give an example of this dog quit and he produced and this and that. Those are exceptions. That's not the rule. Nobody who's serious, and I mean nobody who's a breeder did that in all genres. Again, horse racing, hound dog, game fowl. They don't do that. You might have some people that do that, but they're not a true breeder. There's when you accept faults, then you're screwing up right there. It's going to come out. If we say everything is genetic and everything's passed on genetically, why would you do that? Because even though you get something good out of that subpar dog, what's going to happen in the next generation? Or what's going to happen when you breed him or her to another dog and now it all goes south? It's a falsehood, And like I said, I'm not saying they don't get good dogs out of that, but is that good enough? Are you okay with those odds? If it's so hard to get good dogs from game dogs, then why would you accept anything less? And by doing that, you will increase your odds. You're never going to get 100%. You ain't going to get 80, 70, whatever it is. If you 50% or a little better, you're at the top of the game. Because there's so many factors. If we talk about gameness all the time, game of this and that, and cur and quit, there's a lot of other reasons to cull dogs. It ain't just that. But again, are you going to accept that? Can you improve on that? That's what you're trying to do. And for me, subpar dogs ain't the way to improve. What's a subpar dog? That again, that's somebody's interpretation. Some people don't like game plugs like we talked about. Okay, that's fine. But for me, I'll take a game plug over any cur, any cold dog, any day. So, again, like I said in the past, people don't keep records. So you don't really know what the percentages are overall, And that's why I tell people at least keep your own records, because you'll know at least your own dogs, which that's good enough, But the overall picture, there's no records kept. They don't do it. They don't even do it in game file. They don't hound dog people. They don't do it. They may keep their own, but overall performance, how many dogs made it and how many didn't, and each litter and all the traits and all the good and bad and all that is just not done. So you should do it with your own dog. But I don't see how they're saying. I think that's what the question led to. If a cur dog or whatever can produce good dogs, then does it matter, if you breed game, if you gameness is a standard, that's what kind of it felt like to me. Yeah, it matters. It's everything.
Yes, sir. What'd you say, Ram?
Shit, I totally agree, bro. That fucking, breed a cur enough times, you'll get a bulldog. But you breed a bulldog a handful of times, you'll get more bulldogs than not. Especially if you bred them back to each other, Unproven shit is unproven shit, man. It's sound like, motherfuckers who say that shit, they keep curs, they cur masters. They just get shit for how it's bred and start breeding it. Fuck all that, you don't want to get a dog from them dudes. They playing with the game. Unproven dogs, fuck that. No need to breed them. Plus, grand champions come from other champions and grand champions or producers of them, you know, a proven producer. So yeah, you only ruin the game if you willingly breed curs and willingly put them out there to the public. especially if you're getting them to other people who got that same train of thought. You know, you just stay away from them dogs. You'll see them because they'll be quitting left and right. There's nothing hard to find about them dogs. They fucking trash. Other than that, you know, a bulldog gonna throw you a bulldog more times than not.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. Don't feed nothing that quit, or that's a fucking you thought it was gonna quit and you saved it. Fuck that shit. Start over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing is you can't, you can't use our standard of breeding, of gameness, scientifically. It don't work. It ain't like color patterns or structure, something like that. There's no science that can tell you, no genetics that can tell you that this is how you get game dogs. The only way I know how to do it is breed game dogs. You'll have a higher percentage of game dogs if you breed game dogs. You'll have a higher percentage of athleticism if you breed athletic dogs. And even, I probably mentioned this before, even in the past, they spent millions and millions of dollars giving information to IBM and different genres, chickens, cattle, horses, this and that. The three things that they came out with all the techniques and all the scientific, all the geneticists and all that, the three things that came out of it is, basically, when you breed something together, it either clicks or it don't. They use the word nick. It either nicks or it don't. The second was, it's the environment. How you raise them, how you keep them, how you feed them, that has something to do with it. The third thing was, it's the person behind the breedings that matters. Who's doing it and what they do with their dogs or cattle or chicken, whatever it is. So, I would guess if they did the same thing today, they'd get the same result. They don't know genetically, scientifically, breeding wise, how do you make, a high percentage getting what you want? The only way to do it is to do it. And by doing that, you have to have standards. And whatever it is, if they're good ones, you're going to have a better chance of getting more good ones. That's it. So people can take that where they want.
Sure. Salute to Pro in Game Inc. In the super chat, much love and much appreciation, man. He says, will you explain to these guys the importance of a stud book? Shout out to Gainesville, Kennel. Salute. The importance of a stud book, Mr. Garcia.
Well, I guess, if I'm understanding right, it goes to what I say, keep records of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps a history, particular dog, a stud book does, and within that, you have to, you're going to mention all the offspring. You're going to mention, you're going to have his pedigree, his breeding, I would include all the traits, all the behaviors, whatever throughout their life. And it's just, a way of keeping track of that particular dog, everything about them, and there's a lot to it. If you're that into it, most don't, and you don't have to, but just for record's sake, for history's sake, and for your own, something to refer back to and reference, about, what did I get when I do this? What did he produce from this female? What did, how many offspring from this breeding worked out or whatever, I think it's important.
Right. Yeah, and back to the other question about what the hell was that question you said? Oh, the proven stock stuff. I don't know where he got that impression that most champions and grand champions didn't come from proven stock. I don't know where he got that impression or who told him that. That's not true. A lot of times this too. Sometimes when you see dogs, when you say proven stock, right, you're basically talking about a dog, that has proven its gameness, or it's a dog that's proven its worthiness to be bred, in my opinion. But like sometimes those dogs don't have a title behind them or in front of them, I should say, or they don't have a 1 or 2X or something like that. Sometimes those dogs might, I know several of them that showed a lot of gameness, but didn't have the ability where a person thought that they would make they were worth putting on the fast lane. You know what I'm saying? Um, have you ever experienced that, Mr. Garcia? Somebody who's seen some dogs on the yard, checked them out, and said, "Hey, well, you know what? I like what I'm seeing from him, but he ain't got the ability. He or she don't have the ability to go out there in the fast lane and then bred it to something else that might have had ability."
Yeah, that's with most breeders, or even
Mhm.
anybody just breeding dogs. You're gonna have that. Even if you're a competitor and you make some breeds, this and that, they all ain't gonna have something in front of their name. And mine too. It's my peds are full of dogs I competed with, but there's also dogs in there that I didn't, and I wouldn't, not because they weren't good enough, and maybe some of them weren't good enough to win. But one female, I held her back. She was the only female in her litter. The stud belonged to Don Brode, and I sent him back, so I couldn't repeat the breeding. He repeated the breeding later, but the point is, she was the only female in her litter, and she was worthy of being matched, but she broke all her teeth, so I just held back on her for that. There's also dogs that a lot of them lose. If they lost the right way, they're worth breeding. Some, they're you decided on your own yard that dog is worthy of breeding, so you do it. There's some, I heard people that, I ain't gonna breed the dog unless it won or this or that, unless I competed with it. That's fine if they want to do that, but it's not practical. You might be passing on something that's a good producer, but because it wasn't competed with, you're not going to breed it. And there's tons of those.
Mm-hmm.
It just like you said, proven means worthiness to be bred, or the individual dog, prove something. Producer, anyways. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, you know, I think just people just gotta, really, really just, you know, if you do your research and you know what's going on, you know where to get dogs from. You know what I'm saying? You know who to get dogs from, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't focus so much on worrying about everybody else's yard and all that kind of shit. Too many people in the dogs do that nowadays. They worry about everybody else's yard and what's proven and what's not proven. And like we said the other show, like most of the people that's doing all the talking, they shit don't even be proven. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
just got some shit on it's bred real nice, but
Yeah.
it's not proven, or you might have, did a backyard boogie and you're locked up for 5 minutes or something. That you don't even know if you got a game dog. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. It's just I think a lot, and that's some of the shit that irritates me, like for real. Like when people say they got uh proven stock and all this stuff, and really, and even some big kennels do this. Some big time kennels that everybody fuck with, they do stuff like when they say they looking at their dogs or they're checking their dogs. Really, a lot of times they want to find out if their dog is cold or not. You know what I'm saying? So if the dog starts up, that's all they want to see. They don't want to see if it's game. They ain't putting no pressure on it. They just want to see if the dog start up. If it start up, hey, my dog's proven. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's what they do.
Yep. And to be honest, it's more so now that's being done, but it's always been done. You look back in the old ads, somebody would boast about a dog and this and that, and then Tudor or Hemphill or Heinz, somebody would challenge them, and then they wouldn't take up the challenge. The peddler name goes back a long ways. Uh, uh, but like you said, is because of the atmosphere today, people realize that they could get away with that shit more. They could say whatever they want, and nobody can prove them wrong.
Right.
Nobody, they just, and people take advantage of that. I can't see doing that. I'm not that way. The
Right.
dogs that deserve it should get the credit. The ones that don't shouldn't. It's
Mm-hmm.
Integrity and honesty and all that stuff. It should matter. With some people, it don't. And a lot of times, well, other people do it. Well, I don't give a fuck what other people do. It's what
Right.
you do that matters. And like you said, don't worry too much about what somebody else is doing. You know, if they ain't the kind of people that you want to have around, don't have shit to do with them. You know, and you'll be better off. You'll be spending more times with your dog, concentrating on what you're doing, filling your own stud book up. You know.
Right. Absolutely. Let's see. Any questions in the chat? Let's see what y'all got here. Any questions in the chat? Let me see. Y'all drop some questions before we get up out of here, y'all. Let me see here. Somebody has a question to you, schoolboy. Schoolboy, have you ever exercised and worked a hard keeper in order to maintain the toolkit for as long as possible?
The toolkit. Well, it's a good question. A hard keeper, yeah, I would do stuff with them just to try to settle them down some, and sometimes it would mean beating the hell out of them, meaning I work the shit out of them. I wouldn't put them through a keep, unless I was going to do something with them. But yeah, I'd burn them out if I could, just to get them to settle down. Try and keep them active. It could mean doing a little tug of war. It could mean giving them a bone all day, big old beef bone. They got so much energy pent up. Some dogs are just like that. They can become destructive, and it's just some way to kind of alleviate that a little bit. Some it don't matter. They're just that way, no matter what. But it does. I found that it does help if you do something with them to help them, release that pent up energy. And it could be 2 or 3 days a week only. Just they'll get worked up like that, and burn the hell out, work the shit out of them until they drop. It'll let you see where they're at too. Where's the line of that you don't want to cross if you do happen to put them through a keep or do some conditioning on them. It gives you a measure of okay, this is too much, that's too far, and to back off before it gets to that point.
Right. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Let's see what are the questions we got. Ram, you got any questions you want to get before we get out of here? Yeah, Ram.
Oh yeah, so I'm fucking putting these goddamn ignition coils in shit. No, man, shit, it was a pretty good cook.
Yeah, I got a question for Ram.
Go ahead.
How would you mentor someone if someone you thought was worth spending that time?
Man, same way how I talk to y'all, just be straight up with them, If he fucking up doing some bullshit, I'm gonna tell you. But when you doing the right thing and you doing good, I'm gonna tell you too. And just shut the fuck up, Just shut the fuck up and listen. It's
What's some of the like what would be, I put this in my, that's why I brought it up. I put this in my group. Like what would be the first thing or some of the first things you would teach somebody starting out that you were mentoring? Would it be, yard maintenance, yard setup?
Yeah, I would do proper chain setups first and proper collars,
Right.
How to put them on there, what to check for, some dogs need double O-ring. I would do all of that first. Then I would show them, how to take care of the yard, clean it up, how to administer, the basic medicines.
Right.
Deworm, all of
and
that shit that you should do on a regular,
Right.
All of that. And then I will put him on that old ass goddamn walking keep because I'm gonna see how game he is.
There you go.
If you can fucking walk 20 miles at the end of that bitch, I'm fucking with you. I'm a game check you though. Right. I don't want no cur ass people around me like I don't want no cur ass dogs. You feel me?
Yeah, makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yep.
People call me people say I mentor them. This and I don't know how accurate that is, because I'll help anybody. I'll answer most questions, But I think, you know, mentor has to be hands-on. You know, you have
Yeah,
to
like
have
a
some
mentor,
kind of,
like, yeah, we chilling on the weekend, all of that shit.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I'm going to your house, you coming to my house, I'm gonna show you how to use the mill, all of that shit.
yeah. There you go.
How to use the stick, you know, set up the spring pole and show you how to use the breaking stick to get them off, how to get
Hmm.
them off without the breaking stick, you know, all of that shit.
There
But
you
that
go.
do got to be hands on. You know, I can't really mentor you over the phone.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I get a lot of. Yeah.
I got one for you here. Good. It's always a good, interesting topic. The true breed and the honey bunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether she was a bully son dog or not. You know, what do you think about that? We talked about this a long time ago, but I like
Mhm.
talking about it. What you think about that, Mr. Garcia?
Yeah. As far as Boomerang goes, I think the timeline is off. You know,
Hmm.
if there was to be a littermate that wasn't off Bully Son, it would be it was Joe Polito had a champion dog. It wasn't Rocky. I think it was Rocky's sire. And he's out of Amber, which is the same dam as Honeybunch. That could have been, that was more along the timeline. You know, it just, people have a lot hard trouble believing it's Bully Son because, you know, the way Maurice was, he didn't tell nobody shit. Plus, you know, uh, if I'm not mistaken, the only time she threw black dogs is if she was bred to a black dog. You know, if they bred her to, say, a buckskin or a red, I don't think any of those came out black, with black being a dominant color. It probably should have come out. I'm not a geneticist on color. I don't know everything about it, but it just makes sense that if her sire was black, regardless of whatever male she was bred to, there's a possibility or a probability that she would throw black dogs. She doesn't, other than her fighting style, you know, her intensity and her penchant for being rough, going to the stifle. She doesn't, physically, she doesn't resemble a Bully Son dog, but
Yeah, but she looked like, you know, they grandsire and great grandsire, Blind Billy.
yeah, she
You know,
does. She does.
she could have took
Yeah,
after that, but at the end of
yeah,
the day, who fucking knows,
yeah,
man? You
exactly.
know, the bitch produced Jeep. Who produced dogs? Who could produce good dogs?
Right,
Shit.
right. Hmm.
Other than that,
And
man, fuck it. We'll never know without a DNA test.
Yeah, and
and
I'm
it's
okay with it. You know, me personally, I'm okay with it. I really didn't care what was behind my dogs. You know, I mentioned that before. You know, I had people tell me, you know, that oh, your dog, your female, not really bred that way. The one gave me a female. I told him I don't care. I don't give a shit. From here on out, it's gonna be my breeding. You know,
Yeah, you know what you
so,
bred that bitch
so
to forward.
exactly.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. That's what matters, because just about any dog, there's whether it's true or not, and in most cases it is true. You know, there's some paper hanging or fake this and that, all that. You know, the
And
only
that
yeah,
just
difference
comes with
is,
the territory, you know.
yeah, yeah, true.
and
You just
yeah,
try not
it's,
to get dogs from motherfuckers who can't keep it real about how
Yeah,
they breed. Shit.
that's it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
There still are honest people, good people. You know,
absolutely.
straight up. You know, that there always will be that too. You know, even
Yeah,
in the past, man. There's,
it's some good dog men out here that still tell the truth and they don't try to fuck you over.
mhm.
It's a dog man right now who I was looking into some puppies and stuff. Man, he got a little bitch over there. You know what I mean? I ain't really on the market for no puppies, but you know, but he got a bitch that's you know he bred her to his one of his champions, and he said he wanted to give me a pup off of it, but he got a DNA on. I said DNA on for what? He said, "Oh, because I fuck around and bred her to." He let two males hit it. He let two males hit it. But I appreciate the honesty though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because he could have just fucking just you know he would have told the ADBA one thing and they would have ran with that. He could have just gave me a fucking puppy, and I'm running around here with some fucking Zebo story and shit, not knowing what the
Hmm.
fuck going on. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, you can do
Right.
that too. And the good thing with DNA is you can tell which sire is which. You know, it has to be within a relatively short time, within a day or so. You know, you can breed two males to the same female and get pups from each male. You know, that's been done for generations, long time. People done that. You know, it was just back in the day when they didn't have DNA, they would just go by how the pups looked and act. You know, that one acts like, which is not real accurate, but at least it gives them some idea. But yeah, people do that. But yeah, just, you know, be honest, man. It's not that hard to do unless you shady in the first place, and then there's a problem. You know, and see, going back to this Honeybunch and Boomerang, you know, litter mates, you know, who says Boomerang bred the way he is? You know, it just keeps going like that.
There's rumors about that too.
Yeah, there's 5 or 6 different ones. You know, he's this and that and blah blah blah. And then again, you know, depending on who believes which breeding you believe he's from, those ones ain't correct either. So it gets too jumbled up and too much. You know, you can't unless you was there and seen it. You know, you don't know. Don't believe all what the old dudes tell you. They don't know. They heard it too. You know, they really weren't there, or it makes, you know, or you know, if they have firsthand knowledge or secondhand from the person that did it, then it has more validity. But other than that, they're just speculating themselves. You know.
Yeah, you gotta kind of focus on what's in front of you. If you got a good dog, and then if you're lucky enough for that good dog to perform, and if you're real lucky, and that dog performs and produces, then who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if it does that, I really don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if it was from a goddamn bull mastiff and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It just you know, it in terms of breeding, the true breeding, it helps you in which direction you're gonna go. You know, the only difference is if you have a dog, you know, male or female, that it don't matter what the hell you breed them to, they produce anyway. Then it don't, you know. But there's some stuff that clicks better than others depending on how you breed them, you know. But it just, you know, you know, breed good dogs to good dogs, you'll get good dogs, you know. And then you can make your own. You can line breed them, inbreed them, cross them, whatever, you know. You know, people with line breeding, you know, the true line breeding is focusing on one individual. That's it. It really doesn't matter what the crosses are. It doesn't matter, you know, just that particular individual has to be on both sides of the pedigree. That's the true interpretation of line breeding. It's kind of changed because, you know, we line breed families, you know, cousins and like that. But in the true sense, when you stick, like say you stick a brother in there or a cousin, aunt, that's inbreeding. We don't look at it that way. Ours is just, you know, it's close family. It's inbreeding. Mother to son, father to daughter, brother sister, double granddaughter, double grandson, like that, you know. But when you do that, what happens is all that other stuff, it helps you get to that point. But if you're focusing on one individual, you're following his traits or her traits, that's what you're going to get. That's kind of what Boyles did with Dirty Mary. Most of his breedings have her in it. The studs she was bred to, all different kinds of studs, you know, and even her offspring, you know, they're off of her and grandchildren. It follows her, right? And then it gets to where, you know, you're breeding families like that. But if you look at it, what we're talking about in that respect, it don't matter what the dogs are behind that. If you're focusing on a particular individual, you're trying to capture that dog's traits or that bitch's traits, and then you move forward like that.
Right. Absolutely. Let me see here. Any more questions in the chat about that time? Let's see here. Hamza says, take notes how to conduct yourself before getting an American Pit Bull Terrier, because everyone out here ain't American Pit Bull Terrier, aka all proven bulldoggers, trustworthy. Peace and prosperity. Okay, I thought you had a question. Salute, man. Yeah, just do your research, man.
Yeah, I can address that, you know, because like we were saying, there's all, you know, speaking about like Graham said, Marshall Wilson, you know, just a cool dude, honest like that. Little Jim Marshall always carried himself the right way. Even Abraham, that's his reputation. Harry Clark, educated, intelligent, you know. Heinzel too, no bullshit. told the truth. You know, he didn't fake shit, this and that. Those are good examples of how you should, you know, behave yourself around people regardless, because that reputation is going to follow you forever, you know. And if it matters to you, if it don't make a shit to you, then you just act like however the fuck you want. But if it matters to you, you know, those are some people, those are the types that you know, even years later, 30, 40 years ago, you mentioned little Jim Marshall, people are going to say he was a cool dude. You know, he was honest, straight up, carried himself well, you know. Abraham has that, you know, the one who owned Queen of Heart. He has that reputation too, you know.
Right. R.A. Dick Nixon says, how can you tell the gameness in dogs without traditional methods? Always an interesting question. Ram, you want to take that one?
The only way I ever seen that was close was putting them on one of them fucking wild pigs, you know? That pig gonna fucking bring that cur out your dog if it's any in there. Other than that, you know, the box, bro. For real, that's the only way you can fucking see.
What do you say, Mr. Garcia?
You can't. Ain't no other way, you know. Like Ram said, you know, that is a form of gameness, you know, putting them on a hog, because they will, you know, and it's just the fact that hogs have tusks and they're a lot bigger. Even a small hog is bigger than the biggest pit bull, you know.
Right.
But that's the only way to tell. That's why we're sticklers for it, you know. It doesn't have anything to do with why you like the dog, or, you know, even just keeping dog or whatever, you know. But that is the standard. That's what it's all based on. And there's only one way to find out that in the true sense, you know. That doesn't mean that they're not worthy if you use them for hog hunting or you use them for, you know, legal sports, you know, and it don't, you know, have anything to do with gameness and other types of animals. They sporting or working animals, they have their form of gameness too. But as far as a pit bull goes, that's the only way.
Right. There's another question here. Just saw it. What the hell did I do? Go past it or something? I just saw a question here. Hold on. Scroll back up. Okay. Can you breed on visible traits and be successful? Mr. Garcia.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Visible traits. Yeah, that's how you breed. It's what you see, what's in front of you, you know. All aspects of it, you know. The dogs show you what they are, what they're about. And that covers the gamut, not just gameness, but intelligence, speed, power, wrestling, temperament, behavior, you know, working ability, you know, work ethic, everything. That's why it's so important to pay attention to everything about the dog, you know. And like I always say, we breed the types of dogs we want. Well, what kind of dogs do you want? Including size and build and you know, down to their fucking tail, man. If that's what you like, a rat tail, and that's all, you don't like thick tails, breed for that. Don't accept anything different. The dogs are a reflection of you. So it's always, you know, visible what you're seeing, what the dog shows you, what he proves to you.
Right. Yep. Well, that's the truth of the matter, ladies and gentlemen. Going back to that last question about really determining the dog's gameness, you know, traditional methods are really the best way to do that. To get a true answer. I mean, you can lie to yourself, or, you know, twist and turn and all that kind of stuff. But listen, man, you know, it is what it is. The rules, I didn't make the rules. That's the rules were already here before I was born. You know what I'm saying? You know, hey, go to prison, start fucking with punks, then you was a punk on the street, you just didn't know it. I mean, rules are the rules.
And it's just the way things are now. It doesn't make the dog any less of a dog. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have pit bulls. Do something else with them.
Yeah.
Even for I tell people this too, and this is from growing up. Having a dog around is sometimes better than having a gun around, because a dog's going to let you know as far as protection. Any dog, I don't care if it's a fucking Chihuahua, they're going to hear somebody trying to break into your house, or even before they get up to your house, they're going to know. And if you asleep, that's going to give you time to get to that gun. If you don't have a dog and they break in, they're quiet, whatever, you might not have time to get to your weapon. So that's why we always had dogs around, all different kinds of breeds, because they were companions to us when we were young. They were protectors when we were at home and out and about doing whatever the hell we're doing. People inherently are afraid of dogs in that respect. They're afraid of getting bit. It doesn't matter if it's a Pekingese. They'll run from them. You see them all the time on these stupid videos, you outweigh the Pekingese by 150 pounds and people still run from them. Why? Because they don't want to get bit, even if it's a little nip, So in that respect, dogs are good for that. Man's best friend is truth. The first animal, according to records, that we domesticated, it's our animal. And the pit bull is an American breed. Going back to that question, that's why I ain't going nowhere.
The chat is asking about your book, Schoolboy. Are you writing another book, right?
Yeah, I'm writing another one. I have two. You can hit me up on Messenger or email or whatever, text. Like I always, I can give you the information on it. One's called The Big Red Handbook. Another one's called, the second one's called Family Bred and Raised. And then I have my keep for sale too. And my keep it's not like other keeps, day by day, do this and that. I do have that part in it, but it's a generalization, what to look for, how to peek a dog and think how to work them, which if you have the concept of conditioning, you can use my keep as a guide using whatever methods you use, whatever, what did Rand call them? Your machines, or I forgot. He just mentioned the word, equipment. You can use whatever equipment you want. It's that type of a keep. It's not, first day I do have that method, on a full 8-week keep with my feed and all that, what I fed, and it's just a guideline. But for the most part, it's not, day 1 do this, day 2 do that. That has, that depends on each dog and your methods of conditioning.
Right.
And then I have another one coming out. I'm almost done with it. It's called Dogs, Dogmen, and Bloodlines. That's going to cover it.
You dropped the name of your registry too. Somebody had asked me that on one of the posts.
It's going across the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, ICDR, same thing. Get a hold of me, and I really appreciate it because it's helped. As far as that goes, you guys putting it out there. I'm getting more and more. People like it. They like the way I do it, the standards I have, and how I go about it, the quality of the registrations themselves, So that's helped a lot. Thanks, guy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolute. What's up, Kendrick Kennels? I see you in the building, bro. School Kendrick. Yeah, I like the. I registered my dogs for Schoolboy's registry. I was satisfied. I like the quality of it, and and you can't beat the fact that it's a dog man behind it. You know what I mean? You can't beat that. You know what I mean? Not no sugar coated stuff, and you can't just send him any old bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a dog man, so he gonna know if it's some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's probably the most respect I get. That matters most to people. That I was actually involved with the dogs, and it's not just. There's other ones out there that not that. They're just somebody who wanted to have a registry. But I think it matters.
Right.
That someone has some experience with a dog and doing something like that.
Hell yeah, it matters. Shit. I can't tell you, I'm fucking Mopar, no car, and I never fucking twisted a wrench. Fuck
Exactly.
that.
And you know, the part that really attracted me to it was everything's legit. You got your paperwork, but you got no addresses and shit on there. You know what I mean?
Nothing. No
Yeah.
personal information. People. I don't even think it says pit bull on there. It's not. If you know me, you know what I'm about. But basically, when somebody sends me their information, I do the registration, and whatever letter they sent me or whatever papers filled out, after I'm done with it, I dump it. And the way that I keep track of it is with your registration number. I can't look up a dog if you tell me, this dog named Poochie or his daddy was John, his mama's Mary or whatever. That's not how it's not entered that way into my record. It's
Right.
solely on your dog's registration number. You give me that, I look it up. The pedigree pops up, but I don't have anybody's phone numbers or addresses. If you register your kennel with me, it's going to be under that kennel name. It's not going to be under, anything else. So, it's just a safety measure, privacy on the people. That's why some people, honestly, that's why they've registered with me, because they like that. I don't have a website. I don't put, you call and tell me, hey, is this dog registered with you if it belongs to someone else? I'm going to tell them, I don't know, first off. And secondly, it ain't none of their business. I'm not going to give that information out. You go ask the dude. Don't come to me.
Right. Yep. And if you, I see somebody in the chat said that they don't have social media besides YouTube. Sign up to Facebook, bro. It don't cost you nothing to sign up to Facebook.
Yeah. Even if we're not friends or whatever, it'll pop up, and then I'll get the message. You can email me. It's all small letters, Richard J Schoolboy 60 at gmail.com. Some people get a hold of me that way. If you like these other guys and track down my phone number, you call me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, sir. We got let's say let's see here. Who's that? No, Schoolboy don't register other breeds.
No.
No.
Nope. And it ain't game dogs and this and that. I don't put none of that. Whatever information you put on the pedigree, that's what I write down. But it's purebred pit bulls. That's it. I've been asked to do that. I don't have the time. I'm too lazy, and I don't care about other breeds in that respect. At one point, my buddy in Panama wanted to register all these Malinois, and I told him, hey, if you want to do it, do it. I ain't gonna do it. I don't want to keep track of all that. There was like 10,000 of them.
Damn.
All used in police and security work. Do the numbers. That's a lot of fucking money. But like I said, I'm lazy. I don't care about. I guess that's an asshole part of me. I don't give a fuck about other dogs.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, well, hey, Ram, go ahead and give us a disclaimer, Ram.
Man, salute to everybody that showed up, man. R.A. Nixon, RT Dog, man. Bank Statement, Kennels, Kendrick, AJ, all the homies, man. As always, none of this shit is intended or should it be used for any illegal purposes. If you're out there doing that, that's on you. You get what you get. Other than that, man, it's the weekend. Stay safe. It's still kind of hot out there, so motherfuckers still out there with them tools, so don't get caught lacking, man. And hopefully, we see everybody back next week.
Sure.
Mike, if you're in there, salute, Mike. We'll talk during the week.
Yeah, I'm lucky it's 48 degrees out here where I'm at, man. Got that good, nice cold weather out here, man.
Yeah, it was.
What up, Brandon Blue? I see you in that slow ass Mustang.
It got up to 76 today.
What, miles per hour in the Mustang? That sound about right.
That's a brand new one too, huh, Ram?
Hell yeah. 10-speed transmission. 76 miles an hour, 20-second quarter.
Yeah. They got them old stats, 0 to 60 in 12 seconds. You
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the finish line making a sandwich by then.
know?
It's fucked
Yeah.
up. All right, y'all. We gonna holler at y'all next week, man. I'll put up a post probably on Monday for questions for Friday, so y'all can have y'all questions in on my community post. All right. Thank y'all for joining us. Good show. We'll be back next week. Deuce.
Peace.